And we're Lizard. Lizard. I just got the notification that we're live. It let me know. So I know that we're live and we're
Yeah, just in
broadcasting.
case people forgets that we're live, we got a notification system for it.
Yeah. So we
It's kind of
know.
like that they give those old men so they take their pills in the morning. It's like that.
Yeah. Except it's not
No,
still.
you guys are old and forgetful. It's funny. That kind of fits.
I'm
That was
not
a joke for
old.
Casey. You're older than me, Amy.
Yeah, Amy, you're only slightly.
Casey's older than all of us. Doesn't matter. You're both old and forgetful. It's okay.
You're
It's
only
okay. It's the
slightly
first step.
younger
Just
than me.
acceptance.
You're
I'm
only
only what?
you're only slightly younger than me. So
You're only what? Huh?
what you
What
say?
you say?
What that boy? What? Anyway, we're here to do our weekly six pack, as you can see on the screen, because it says ICW six pack with the P. Yeah, and then we got the pack of the cans there, and then we got our logo on the bottom, and then we'd like to interview. I was gonna say who we'd like to interview, but it makes you think more when it just says we'd like to interview. But this is our six pack of top six people we would like to interview, considering we are a podcast and we've done a couple interviews in the past, so this is sort of I guess we could consider this kind of a bucket list. So if anyone, sees this and knows any of the people on our list, you can hook us up, get us.
I have a professional wrestler that you could talk to. You just forget.
That's DJ's fault. DJ does the Twitter stuff and he does all of that. So
I talk to everyone. Basically, I do all the work.
Yeah, I know.
I make the logo.
Casey should have all the information for Frankie.
I
He's an AIW wrestler.
Yeah, I think we have him. Don't we have him on Twitter? I think we do. I'm pretty sure we have him on.
Yeah,
Twitter.
he follows you.
Yeah.
He follows you on Twitter.
So go
I'm
talk
saying.
to him. Go. Anyway.
I've talked to him. You guys have to do the rest. I can't set up anything.
Yeah, DJ, set it up. You're the one with the big fancy job so you have to work around your schedule. So anyway, let's get into our six pack or bucket list, whatever you want to call it. Start off with our honorable mentions, as we always do, because we always have at least 5, sometimes more. I think I only have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, only 5 on mine. But anyway, first on my honorable mention. The only reason he is on my honorable mention is because Amy rubbed off on me and he is deceased. So unfortunately, we can't interview a deceased individual. We haven't figured out how to do that yet. Maybe we can have like a seance, I guess. But like I'm not into that. I'm not into all that stuff. But anyway, we got William Moody, aka Percy Pringle, aka Paul Bear. Oh no, it's not. It's not Amy. It's DJ with the loud TV and the loudness. Anyway, like I said,
I asked you. I specifically asked you. Was before we started the video, was my TV too loud? This man said nothing. So
anyway, Paul Bear, he's was a wealth of information. And from interviews that I've seen with him, he has he's a funny guy. He has hilarious stories from the road, from wrestling shows, from the old territory days. So he would have been an awesome person to interview. My next honorable mention is Edge and Christian. First off, we have to have the instant classic Christian Cage on the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast. It just has to happen, and you can't leave Edge out because he's Edge. Then we got Earl and Brian Hebner. I've always loved the Hebners. From the Montreal Screwjob to present day. And you got to give the referees some loving. They got to they need interviews too. They have feelings too. Um, then we got Oni Lorcan, aka Biff Busick. Had to put him on the honorable mentions because we almost got an interview with him, and then he was signed to WWE, and that kind of ruined any possibility of us getting an interview. So yeah, then my final honorable mention: Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. Just because they are brothers, they grew up in the business. It would be interesting to just talk to them about growing up, kind of in the business, and how that kind of developed their interest in the business, how to maybe develop their characters, things like that. But those are my honorable mentions, and I'm gonna go to Amy because she feels like she has something to say. I feel like there's something that she needs to say because she's all if you could see her right now, she is just she wants to say something, and I'm gonna let her say it. So Amy, go ahead. You go, girl. You say it. Unless it's yelling at me, in which case don't say it. Don't. You muted, by the way. I needed you to realize that she's been talking for a while now, apparently.
No, I was talking to my mom. So haha.
Amy Mama! Amy Mama!
Sorry,
No.
it's tradition. It has to happen.
No, I know someone who interviewed Bray Wyatt. He's a good friend of mine, Matt Forjancic. He works for Channel 3. You can go find it either on his Twitter or Channel 3's Facebook. So he talks about, I believe he talked about a few of those topics.
All right.
So
Can you hook us up with an interview, though? Can he do that?
He already interviewed him, so probably not. He also interviewed Charlotte. I don't know if that matters for anything, but
go ahead with the honorable mentions of the honorables.
Speaking of the Flair Society, my honorable mentions down there. One of them is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I just would love to go more in depth what he did all of his other interviews and pick his brain even more. I don't think an hour was long enough for that Stone Cold podcast with him. I felt we could have got a lot more out of it. Stories too. And then there's Paige. For the love of God, I just want to know what the heck is going on in this girl's head when the world is actually happening. Because, her and WWE like to counteract each other. And probably tell her she should get rid of Alberto Del Rio. And then, I can't have my list without a Clevelander on it. He is the most must-see man on television right now, The Miz. Would love to, I don't know, pick his brain too. I want to find out more about how The Miz was actually developed, the character. I know it was developed in the real world shows. I just want to figure out what brought that on. I know it was just an exaggeration of himself. That's what he said before, but it'd be kind of cool. I need good high school stories because he went to my high school. And then the next two wouldn't be my list without some people who have passed away. What?
And you can't blame this on October anymore.
No, I cannot. But no, one of them being Dusty Rhodes. The man went through hell, but has done so much in professional wrestling. They gave him polka dots and was told to run with it. He made it work and made it iconic. No matter how much they were trying to make fun of him or put him down, he rose above it and made something of himself. So I would love to just, hear more about that. And he's a wealth of knowledge. So find out more. And then last one would be Eddie Guerrero. more or less just he's one of my favorites. Loved watching him wrestle. La cheat steel, viva la raza. Um, just to hear more about the luchador wrestling and what he did when he was wrestling there. I love anything Hispanic, Mexican, Cuban, all that. I just love it to learn about it, so I think that'd be kind of cool. No, Casey, no.
I'm
DJ would have been my next honorable mention. You know, he is a good light heavyweight champion there.
I mean, you know, it's it's tough. It's tough to resist.
the
You're a hard man to book.
the total nonstop awesome world champion here. I'm better than him, but you know what? Fine, whatever, Amy. You know, I'm gonna have my debut on SmackDown, and I'm not even gonna mention you in my amazing promo that I'm gonna cut. So,
Oh, good.
you know, not even gonna nothing. And then Alexa's gonna come out, and you know, she's gonna be all over me. And
Oh, that's fine by me. This man is on my TV. I'm happy.
DJ, honorable mentions. So,
All right. My honorable mentions list is bigger than my actual list because I've just been thinking about them, just thinking, like all throughout the time y'all been talking. And I my list, I try to keep it kind of more realistic to what we could do like in the next year. Because I wanted to ramp up the interviews, but it's been tough. Um, just because, and I've been trying to like kind of learn how to properly ask for interviews and everything. So it's just been kind of tough to get interviews, but I still want to try to get some more throughout the next year, but or well, I guess more so next year, and I guess from this November to next November more than anything. But one would be AJ Styles, just because he's traveled all around the world, and it's kind of, I would love to hear his stories about how um, how he's traveled all around the world and how much different, Japan was from America, from WWE to TNA. I know he's went into depth about that on, different interviews and stuff, but I would still like to kind of hear it personally. I think it'd be pretty cool. Another one that I just thought about was either Trish Stratus or Sable. I don't know which one. The reason I'm saying, and there's no true comparison between those two, but the reason I'm saying either one, because I would love to see how I would love to see how Sable felt about being in the Attitude Era and being, how women were portrayed back then. And the same thing with Trish Stratus. I would kind of like to see like how she felt about how different changed, even though when she was kind of like a pioneer for it, at least a pioneer for this like newer era or that era back then with the women's championship. Um, Another one probably be one that a lot of people wouldn't really want to interview, but I would. And it's Dixie Carter.
Might be a
She's
good one.
been, she's been running and president of TNA for so long. And it would be so good, especially around like now time, or even like a little bit later from now when all this crazy stuff just goes away and she can really talk about what she really wants to talk about. Because it's kind of hard to keep the roster just calm and composed during like all these rumors coming out and all this crap coming out and whether it's true or it's not true. And I kind of would want to hear her story about that and kind of how hard it is kind of being a woman and owning a company, because she never really gets the credit she deserves, I don't feel like. Another one will be John Cena. Now I know, but he's John freaking Cena. Like I don't care. He's one of the biggest stars of like all time basically. And I would just like to see how he kind of, because like hear his story about how he got into the business and everything, like because he's still really passionate about it, and I don't care what anybody says, he's still really passionate about it. Plus it'd be fun to see Casey and John Cena in the same like vicinity. That would be the greatest thing ever. That's probably why I would do it. I'd be like, John Cena, we got a Cena ran out, I'm just saying, you should check that out. Another one would be Ricochet, and just because he's Ricochet. Like it would be a hard one to get just because he's like rose in popularity so much. It'd be hard to get at this time, but I would love to get Ricochet. DJ's another one. He's been through a couple of character changes. He's been through like a kind of a rocky road when it comes to when he first started. I kind of like to hear that story because I know it's been a while since he really got a chance to really tell his story. Because I know he first told his story. I think was it True Life that they did. Yeah, documentary on Zima Ion or Shima Zion at the time. I got Asuka just because Vince Russo because he's so controversial. I kind of want to hear his side of the story on it. Even though he's kind of told it, I still would like to hear it like personal experience on like how he killed or not killed WCW. I would like to hear that story. And then I got Kevin Owens and Zack Ryder. Kevin Owens because I would just like to see how he feels about how people like portray him because everybody portrays him as like the fat guy. And I'm kind of curious to see what he would say about that, just as Kevin Owens just as himself. And Zack Ryder, just because I kind of like to see how I would like to interview him after his WWE run, so he can really be real about how he really feels. Because I know he's been through a lot with WWE, and there's been a lot of he got himself over, and still it didn't help him. So I would really kind of want to hear his story about how that kind of came about, how he came about with the True Island Knife story and everything, all of that stuff. But I know I had a lot of honorable mentions. I tried to get through them pretty quick, but I just kept thinking of them, and I was like, man, that would be cool. That would be cool. That would be oh man, oh yeah, it's like that.
You know what? Since you're on such a roll, give us your number 6.
Okay. My number 6 is actually a guy named Flex Armstrong. He's the Big Time Wrestling World Champion, and I took a picture with him twice, and that's kind of why I wanted to interview him, see if he remembered me. He always says he does, but I'm sure he's lying. I just think it would be cool to interview him, just to see kind of how he got into it too. Especially like I always like to look at in the smaller indie circuit to kind of see like where they want to go. That's always a thing I always think about is kind of where you want to go because I've always been of the idea that you never want to stay where you are to a certain degree. You never want to stay in one place for too long. You always want to grow, and I kind of would love to see like how a guy like him, who's kind of a local indie guy, where he wants to go with it. Does he want to stay in big time wrestling, or does he want to kind of go farther? Because I know when we talk to the Xer guys, obviously their goal was to go farther, and you would assume that's everybody's goal, but you never know. So number 6. Flex Armstrong. If you don't know him, look him up on Twitter. He's a big fellow.
Or you saying he's fat?
Not fat.
Okay. Amy, I know I'm not your number 6. I'm much higher on your list, but go ahead and give us your number 6.
Oh, my number 6 is he's a very dangerous man.
It's me. I should be number 1 though.
No, sorry, sweetheart. No.
Oh.
This man is the world's most dangerous man. He was a heavyweight champion for UFC. I'll say it was
So it is Casey.
Intercontinental. Oh yeah, right. His Intercontinental champion and tag champion in WWE is Ken Shamrock, who's on my TV currently, taking on Steve Blackman in Alliance.
Good match. They almost put me in that match. To be honest, they almost booked me in that match, but I had other things to do at the time. So
no, just no. Shamrock. It was more or less for a UFC fight between him and his brother. They had a whole background on him, and I thought it was really interesting how he was pretty much given to the foster home, like, here, do something. And then the man who ran it actually adopted him. So Shamrock is not actually his biological name. And then his brother Ryan, same story. They came from a boys' home. And that's how he proceeded. He got into fighting to stay out of trouble. So it's just a very interesting background story, and I kind of wanted to see why he went from UFC, where he was actually pretty dominant, to the WWE. And just wanted to see that. Kid Shamrock. Sorry, Casey.
You know, he almost did make my list. Almost did, but I knew Amy was gonna pick him, so I was like, I don't want to overlap, because I'm clear as number one. But anyway, my number 6 is Lance Storm. I loved Lance Storm back in WCW, even in run in WWE. I think he would also be a wealth of knowledge. Just from coming up in Canada and then making it to WCW, WWE. He wrestled for all 3 of the major companies at the time. And now he has his wrestling academy. So that would be interesting too, kind of talking to somebody who has their own, wrestling academy, kind of get their thoughts on what they look for in wrestlers. Because, we know what Vince looks for, to an extent. But I would like to see, his thoughts on, what really makes good wrestling. But Lance Storm is my number 6. And let's keep that order going. DJ, number 5.
All right. My number 5, we've actually interviewed them before.
So why are we going to do it again?
Because I would love to do a follow-up interview.
Okay.
My number 5 is the Extra Guys, because we asked them a lot about we asked them a lot about kind of what they wanted to do, what were their goals this year, and I kind of want to see, like, did they meet their goals? Were they close to their goals? How that kind of worked out. And plus, I love the Extra Guys. No fatties. That's just how it's got to be. So I had to put them on the list because I would just like a follow-up interview with them just to kind of see kind of where they are now.
I mean, but they're not the X guys anymore. So
really,
no. They're the Mighty Militia now. So it's a change, but
Where are they from? That name's ringing a bell.
Virginia area.
Oh, it's ringing a bell. I'll have to look up something.
Mighty Militia. Mike Mitchell and the man Johnny Manning. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. But anyway, we're gonna continue with our Amy sandwich and have Amy get it because she's between me and DJ and the not. So it's Amy. So it's number 5, Amy. Sandwich.
Yeah, no, my number 5 would have to be the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's gone through a lot of character changes and all that throughout the years. Finally, and I believe that what year was that? It's either 98 or 99 King of the Ring he won first. I want to say it's 98, where the actual Stone Cold characters pretty much developed through the Austin 316. Austin 316, just with Dress thing came in and then ran with it and became crazy popular. But I thought he'd be a good source of knowledge, though. The man's gone through a lot of changes when he was in WCW, WWE, and all that. And I would just like to hear more about Dean stuff because I know he had a lot of issues with Vince walking off. And I know he had a lot of issues in his personal life from when he was married to Deborah and a wife before that. He had actually adopted his kid, ex-wife's kid, something like that. So just want to see how the wrestling life affected him in that way. Not to mention the man's got knowledge out the wazoo. And he's just awesome.
All right. But you know how with a sandwich, you put the bread, and then you put the
JC, go.
in the sandwich,
Go.
and then you put the
Go.
bread.
Go.
Like,
Gallete.
anyway, I'll explain the sandwich a little bit later. But
No, he won't.
I will. I really will. It's pistachio analogy, but better because it's not pistachios and it makes sense. But anyway, my number 5 is Colt Cabana. I would love to interview Colt Cabana just because he's been around for so long. He he trained with CM Punk, so it would be cool to kind of talk to him about his early days coming up. All the different promotions that he's wrestled for. Kind of talk to him about his choice to not necessarily stay with one company, not really be under contract with one company, and be more of a basically an independent wrestler. He kind of goes where he wants, does what he wants. Also, I'd like to talk to him about how he's basically been more of a comedy wrestler, in his career.
Joey Abs.
Yeah, Joey Abs too. Joey Abs is a good guy.
He's the third one we didn't know.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Test for Shane McMahon right now is on. So
anyway, but yeah, also he has a very popular wrestling podcast, so maybe pick his brain a little bit to get some ideas how to blow up.
Run.
Yeah. What? I don't want to run.
How to run a podcast?
Listen, we know how to run a podcast. You just don't have Justin on.
DJ does.
DJ doesn't know how to. He thinks he knows. He don't know. None of us know. We just kind of try things, and if it works out, it works out.
That's kind of I think how it goes, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but anyway, DJ numero 4. First of all, before you go to numero 4, Amy, what is that? What is that blue thing? Okay, I just saw a blue thing in your mouth, and I was confused. Anyway,
I'm gonna move on to my number.
DJ, please go.
I'll move on to my number 4. My number 4. I'm trying to think now. I'm gonna go with it. My number 4, because Casey loves her so much, Raquel or Chelsea Green. I've reached out to both of them, I think. And I just thought it would be interesting to interview them because they went through Tough Enough. And I kind of want to see like how that experience was. Now that they're both out of WWE, it would be kind of interesting to kind of see how how it really was. Because like like we watched the show, we saw how it kind of was, but like they were in the competition. So I would kind of be interested to see how that would go. Did they really wrestle? That would kind of be my question. My biggest question. Did they actually learn anything on Tough Enough? But I would like to talk to one or both of them. It would be pretty cool to kind of talk to somebody who used to be on Tough Enough and could probably openly talk about it. More than like a Patrick Clark or I think it's Josh Bronson or whatever. Like it would be a little bit easier for them to talk about it because they don't have to like stay in this little bubble about how great it was and how beneficial it was. But my number 4 is Raquel or Chelsea Green.
All right. And let's get into the middle of our Amy sandwich. Just the middle of it. Amy, numero 4.
My number 4 is the Irish last kicker, Becky Lynch. I had to have a female on my list, and she's by far one of my absolute favorites. Watched her since she was, I want to say, 15. Wrestling all over, England, Ireland, and all that. And she came into Shimmer, so I watched a lot of her stuff as Rebecca Knox. Fantastic wrestler, only got better as the years went on, and she's wrestled all over the world, so she would be a great wealth of knowledge from a female perspective that people might not get to see. In WWE, you don't get too many female indie wrestlers anymore. You really don't. There's like a handful of female indie wrestlers, so I would love to get her perspective on that. And you get it here and there in these little interviews, and I know with WrestleMania, they did a little bit talking about how Finn Balor was one of her trainers and stuff like that. But I think she'd be a great source of information from a female perspective, especially since she's one of the very few these days who actually has that type of background in wrestling. So back to you, number 4.
I mean,
Sheamus, right? It was Sheamus, right?
No.
Oh, dang.
oh, I thought it was Sheamus. I really did. Wait, was it Hornswoggle?
It was Nikki Bella with the forearm.
So it was Alexa Bliss. All right, okay. I can get behind that. But anyway, number 4. Since DJ picked 2 for his number 4 and cheated, I'm gonna not cheat, but still technically pick 2 because they're a tag team. So yeah, my number 4 is Red Dragon, because they are one of my favorite tag teams. And it would be interesting to kind of get those of their inputs on tag team wrestling currently. How they've been in the business, how they kind of developed their the wrestling styles, things like that. I think it would be definitely cool to interview, and I haven't really seen too many interviews with them, so that would be cool. But DJ, number 3.
All right. My number 3 is Rosemary. I talked to Rosemary too. I did. She's very confused on why she was married to Casey, but I talked to Rosemary.
He wasn't. I saw that message. There was nothing about me. I have access to the.
There was. I made sure I put that in there. She's very confused. But
access to the Twitter, so I saw the message, and there was nothing about me at all. Liar.
Okay, I'll go find it and I'll read it to you. Wait, but I wanted to do Rosemary just because I wanted to see kind of if she would do it in character. I was kind of curious about that. I wanted to see if she'd actually take the interview in character, because it sounded like she would. Because a lot of TNA superstars do that. They don't break character to do interviews, and that would be pretty cool. While thinking about that, it would be cool to have freaking Matt Hardy to interview doing his character right now. That would just be interesting. Especially with the amnesia thing that he's going through now. I wonder if he would still do that. That would be hilarious. But definitely Rosemary, because I would like to see just kind of talk to her about kind of what her journey and everything. But yeah, number 3, Rosemary.
All right. Well, I think a lot of TNA players would be cool to interview. Like Eli Drake, yeah. Amy, number 3. I almost forgot where we were.
My number. The regret is strong right now for the words I'm about to say. Terrible. But my number 3 is one of my favorite British indie wrestlers right now, and Zack Sabre Jr.
Right there. I told you.
Oh shit, DJ, you didn't come through until I actually said it in my headset. Sorry. But no, I would love to pick his brain because he's more of a technical style wrestler, and I would love to see how the typical mainstream. So I want to see how he adapts to that, what he thinks about it. because not a lot of people would like book him for those reasons. I think like mainstream, like WWE, TNA type deal. But I don't know. I want to see what he thinks about it. And he's ridiculously talented and probably could teach a few people a thing or two. So it'll be interesting. Zack Sabre Jr. is my number 3. It doesn't help he's great looking.
Excuse me? What did you say about Zack Sabre Jr.?
Ay.
I mean, I would love to have him on the podcast, and yes, I would.
Just so you can say Zack Sabre.
I would refer to him as Zack Sabre Jr. and I would come in as Mauro Cole Ross.
¿Qué es número 3, Casey?
I don't know what that means, but
¿Qué es su número 3?
I don't know what that means, but I love you too. But my number 3.
Te amo.
Yeah, and stuff. Zack Sabre Jr. No, my number 3 is Sami Zayn. Another wealth of knowledge. You know, he's wrestled all over the world. Just would love to see, his thoughts from different countries, wrestling in different countries. From there to now being in WWE. Is it what he thought it would be? Where were some of his other favorite places to wrestle? Also kind of like to talk to him about, the El Generico character, where that came from. Was his idea? Was it something that somebody, gave him? And kind of also talk to him a little bit about, coming up with a couple other indie stars that have either made it to WWE or haven't, and see who else he thinks would possibly get to WWE someday. But Sami Zayn is my number 3, and not Zack Sabre Jr. I'm so glad that, and DJ is gone.
What happened?
DJ is not here, so we lost the overlay. We lost the overlay now because DJ just went and gone, and he's back now. So
that was weird. I don't know what happened there.
Who knows?
That DJ Google Plus, or DJ's computer. It was probably just DJ's computer. Let's be honest. But DJ number 2.
My number 2 is Santana Garrett because I love her. I love her. I love her. I think she's amazing. I think she's really good in the ring. And I kind of, she's kind of been in a mainstream company when she went to TNA, and she's had some time in WWE. But I kind of, would love to see how she feels about kind of just. It's kind of one of those situations where she's kind of being bounced around. Is she just appreciative of the opportunities, or is it really kind of frustrating? Kind of just go back and forth, and she was in TNA and it felt like she had a good chance in TNA, and then whatever happened with that happened, and then now she's back on the Indies, but she's still kind of she's still enjoying herself. I can tell by her Snapchat she's still enjoying herself, but I'm curious to kind of see like her situation right now. Is it because WWE won't give her a full-time contract, or is it maybe something else? Maybe she doesn't want a full-time contract. She's just trying to get as many mainstream appearances as she can. But number 2, and I'd ask her about that Samuel Shaw fella and how they need to calm down just a little bit, from back in the day. Nah, bro, you can't be having that, my girl.
What about JoJo though?
I would, she's my number 1. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. She's my number 1. I would love to interview JoJo. I would finally get to take her on that date. I'm telling you, if we get an interview with her, I'm gonna do it.
I'm pretty sure she has a boyfriend.
I don't care. It doesn't matter if she has a boyfriend. Mr. Still Your Girl. That's how you gotta be sometimes, and you know it happens. She loves me anyway. Like I see the way she looks at me. You know, I'll be watching the TV and she be looking, and I'll be like, you know,
At the
I
camera.
see you. No, at me. She
So,
knows I'm
At the camera.
So after that interview, I will have an opening for a co-host because her boyfriend gonna kill DJ, and I will have it on pay-per-view so you can watch DJ die. But anyway, Amy, numero 2-0. Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, we have two.
My number 2
Numero 2-0.
is quite a phenomenal person.
It's me.
You know, it could be
No.
your light heavyweight champion of the world, but I forgot I'm number 1.
No, sorry, boys. It's none of you.
Yeah, because I'm number 1. I get it.
It's a face that runs the place, Mr.
Oh,
AJ
that's me.
Styles. I love the man. One of my favorites. I still consider him like dear favorites for sure. Watched him for like 15+ year career. He's just going through every freaking promotion he ever went through. Pretty much, he's won a major title for them. So just to get knowledge about the lower promotions he did, like I think he was in a gymnasium taking on Seth Rollins. He's taking on Kevin Owens back in the day. Like the earlier matches with him, and people still knowing who he was, and you know, thinking so highly of him. Just wanted to get more of that and like compare what does he actually think. Just compare WWE to all of his other promotions. Like in Japan, he could take a 2-month stint and then go home for 2 months. And then now he's stuck here traveling wherever. But also, I want to find out where does he think he flourished more. TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, WWE. I want to see what he thinks that the AJ Styles persona, I guess, how do you put it? Light, but prospered more. And he's just phenomenal to look at, so that would be great.
Excuse you. You know. Anyway. DJ.
Okay.
I almost went to you because I forgot. I got so flustered that I forgot it was my turn. I got so flustered because somebody over there in Ohio looking at other men, you know, because you think, oh, because I'm in Ohio, I could be looking at other men's, but that's not how that works. Don't you be looking at that TV at other men's?
He's on television, Casey.
Yeah, and you can't.
Someone in Pennsylvania has an affection for Alexa Bliss.
That's different.
I mean, who doesn't? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
even you look at Alexa Bliss and you're like, she, you know, if I was a dude,
No, actually, I don't.
Miley does though. You know,
Miley likes Alexa.
Anyway, my number 2 is similar to Amy's number 2. You know, they've been friends. You know.
Yep. You are right. You know, we have. You know, I'll just stand up now and take my award.
DJ, it's not you. It's not you. I'm proud to be a wrestler too. I am proud to be here tonight too. I am proud. Anyway, I can hear a TV. I think it's Amy's TV. I don't know. But my number 2, Christopher Daniels. Again, similar questions sort of to Amy, kind of where where he thinks he kind of flourished most. He's been in obviously TNA, Ring of Honor. I think he's wrestling in Japan. Pretty sure. Hasn't been to WWE, which is surprising. I would love to see if he thinks that's would be an option someday. I'm surprised he hasn't wrestled in WWE. I think he might have had a match or two, maybe on a dark match. I feel like I've seen him on something at some point in WWE, but just kind of basically ask him, about his career, because he's been in the business for so long. We kind of joked about how Christopher Daniels is one of the older guys in the business. I mean, he is, but just kind of ask him a little bit about, coming up and kind of being one of the guys that built TNA, really. Ask him about, wrestling for Ring of Honor, just kind of, different stuff like that. I think he would be definitely another wealth of knowledge as far as a wrestler goes. Yeah. But I think now I can move on to Diva. I was flustered before. Still kind of.
Can I go last? Just to. I just want people to think about my number one.
You know what? You can go never. You can go never. Amy, go.
My number one
is me. I know. I get it.
She was saving it. That's what it was. She didn't want me to be number two. She was saving it.
Sorry, boys.
You number negative. I'm number one.
Sorry, boys. Neither of you.
She just saying that to be nice to the person she picked.
Yeah.
I have some pretty. It's a personal reason, other than he's my favorite, and I think he's the greatest wrestler of all time. Personal reasons behind it. And granted, I own all this man's DVDs and 2 books. I've learned probably as much as I can about him. That's not you, Casey.
Is it Mick Foley?
No.
Darn it.
No.
Is it Mankind?
Is it
no,
Zack
it's
Jr. again?
No. None of them.
Cactus Jack.
No.
Dude Love.
No. No. Oh. It would be
The Rock.
The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Between the Heartbreak and Triumph DVD book, and then the My Journey DVD, and then his recent book, it's Wrestling for My Life. I've probably learned as much as I can, but I think it would be really cool to talk to him in person about it. Figure out, I don't know, just what his thoughts and takes were on different parts of how they ran WWE in the Attitude Era versus now. And then in the middle, he was somewhat involved in the middle of the 2000s, on and off. But also, personal reasons, the man, his book helped me out through a lot of the 7th grade I was going through. So he actually helped me out pretty well. So I think it'd be really cool. So between personal reasons and the fact that I think he's by far one of the best things that the WWE is able to produce, and I don't think they're ever going to come close to it again, because they don't like to make their superstars anymore or build them. I think to be
because when they do, we complain about it.
Well, no, they don't build them properly. They rush them. That's why we're complaining. They currently rush anyone they're trying to promote and build, and it's horrible. Because they are not realizing that if you're taking someone from NXT, you have to slowly integrate them into the main roster, because a lot of people do not watch both promotions. They will pick one. So someone who's ridiculously big in NXT, like Neville, didn't flourish in the main roster.
Yep, I made that point multiple times. I have.
Right.
No, good point, DJ.
Tyler Breeze was one of the staples in NXT. He actually came through FCW before. It was NXT, but he's not doing well on the main roster. I mean, they love the fun, was a Breezango thing, but they're not doing anything with that. It's just they're taking NXT talent up too fast, not doing anything with them, and we all have heard my Women's Revolution rant, so there's like one or two of them are flourishing, and one's just now starting to. So anyone they want to try and make a star, it's not working for them. Pre-established, like Finn Balor, Becky, Sasha. Who else came over from NXT? Seth Rollins, Paige. Anyone who's been established in the Indies already has had an easier time because they don't need that much work to be introduced to the fans. The fans already know who they are, at least most of them. So now they're just taking the old TNA stars and hoping that that's going to help them and not worrying about their current roster of bodybuilders. Hence that, but I would like to see more actual wrestlers. But that's too logical for WWE. DJ, please go. Stop me.
No, he wanted to go last because he wants to be all special.
Oh, okay.
Because his number one probably sucks. It's probably terrible.
But I don't know how you're going to top Shawn Michaels.
My number one can top Shawn Michaels. My number one.
I don't know how.
Is it Razor Ramon because he's beaten Shawn Michaels before? So get it top.
That was a phenomenal match. Him versus Shawn in that ladder match for the undisputed Intercontinental title.
You know who would blow him out of the water? My number one, Akeem, the African Dream. No, it's not.
Is it Earthquake? It's Earthquake, isn't it?
Michael Tarver?
If it's Earthquake, can we get the Aftershock too?
It's Michael Tarver. No. No, my actual number one is good old JR, Jim Ross. I would love to interview JR, talk to him about everything from, the old territory days to WCW to WWF, WWE before he left, to, what he's been doing since then, to, his podcast. Hell, even his barbecue sauce. I would like to talk to him about his barbecue sauce because my recipe, it's just lacking something, and I need, some ideas. Some ideas.
Yeah, you actually making it. Oh, look who was right.
Can you stall for like 2 more minutes?
By the way, JR's barbecue sauce is amazing. I bought a bottle. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
just call
not
out
ashamed.
the sponsors. Call out the sponsors.
Wait, what?
I don't know where he's selling it these days. Go listen to his podcast. I know there's always a commercial about it.
Yeah,
probably on WWEshop.com. You can probably go find that. Just like you can find Shawn Michaels books and DVDs.
It is
on WWEshop.com.
On WWEshop.com, where you can get a lot of good merchandise. You can get the Ascension T-shirt and then have them not be pushed. You can freaking love it. But anyway, I don't know why we're stalling for this man because he probably is trying to think of who his number one is. But my number one, it was the greatest number one of all time, JR Jim Ross. Because my God,
Shawn Michaels.
Man, DJ, are you ready for your?
All right, sorry. My computer
you need to come back.
is going dead.
Did he have to? Oh.
It's going dead. Had to stop it.
All right.
Number one, the epicness. I need a drum roll.
No.
Okay, I got it. All right, my number one is Little Jimmy. No, it's not Little Jimmy.
Jimmy, little Jimmy.
My number one
El Torito.
is actually, for once, you guys were
Black
halfway
Rain.
right.
Black Rain.
My number one is Michael Tarver.
Oh God. What?
What the fuck?
Because I would
Casey
love
Whipping Punk.
to I would love to interview Michael Tarver and tell him how horrible he is, how bad he is, and how I could beat him in a wrestling match. I will put my title on the line, on the line. Because Michael Tarver, he's not good, never been good, won't ever be good. I want this interview. I sent the invitation out. I told him, I said, hey, be on this podcast, they're gonna. I will tell you how much I don't like you. You know what he did? You know what he did? He ran away, just like he did in season 1 of NXT. He ran away. He ran away from the competition. And the competition,
And
even though you can't see me,
You
the
know what?
competition.
DJ. The real reason
I thought I had rants.
the real reason he didn't come on the podcast is because you putting up a title on the line. That means nothing. It means
No. This is the most important title WWE has ever created. You can take your Universal title, you can throw it in the pond. You can take your World Championship, you can throw it in the pond. You can take your Cruiserweight Championship, you can paint it all purple so you can't see it anymore. The only title that's great is this one. The light heavyweight championship of the world and Florida.
First of all, we can't see it if you're showing it. Secondly, they already threw that in the pond. It's in the pond. They don't care about it.
It's the greatest. But seriously though, my number one would be Michael Tarver. Because I would just love to I kind of would want to see my reaction to having Michael Tarver on the show. Just because I do hate him. I think he's terrible. I think he sucks. He's not fat, but he could be. He's pretty much fat. I just want to see him in front of my face so I can tell him how he made me upset during the first season of NXT, and I ain't never gonna forgive him. Like that $5 Braxton Sutter charged you, the same reason is why I would love to interview Michael Stupid Face Quitter Tarver. But I would like to use one of his songs as the intro song though, because we need, but still, Michael.
I can see this movie happening. You suck. You're terrible. By the way, can we use one of your songs? But you're terrible.
God awful trash, garbage. No.
But anyway, oh God.
Michael Tarver is more of a jobber than Justin is.
That's
Oh,
not.
God.
That's
No. No.
Justin is the jobber.
We need to see if we can get a 2-for-1 deal. AJ Lee and CM Punk.
Yeah, that would be good.
I mean, Matt interviewed CM Punk and it went pretty well, but AJ was nowhere near. She was, I don't remember where he said she was, but.
Can we get a Lord Tensai interview?
Can we get the hip hop show?
We need to just start going to more indie matches and can we interview you?
We need the Starliners on the show.
We need to go to indie shows and find old retired WWF stars that are still trying to wrestle and get them. Yeah.
We need to go to England, go to WAW wrestling because a lot of them are going there these days.
So you know how far away England is though? Like it's
still a dream.
It's at least a minute, at least.
I mean, but would Zack Sabre Jr. be there?
I actually don't know if he wrestles for WAW at all. As far as I've seen, no.
How come Kata Ibushi wasn't on the list?
Kata Ibushi.
I would have had too long of honorable mentions.
Zack Sabre Jr. and Kata Ibushi in the same sitting.
We need a translator.
It's okay. We can find a translator for Zach.
Nope.
Funaki. We
Wait.
got Funaki.
Wait, no,
Yeah.
he's Japanese. Sorry, wrong language. I just said.
Chinese.
Racist.
Yeah, we can get Funaki to.
No, I don't.
We should get Mauro Ronaldo so they can meet Marco Ross.
Yeah. Mauro Ronaldo and Mauro Ross.
Can we get the Hurricane on the show?
Can we get Itchweed?
Let's get Max on the show. Maxwell. I think we got to get the King on the show.
Can we get that fat guy that writes down things for Matt? That
So actually, my real number one was myself. I did want to try to interview myself one time, just see how it plays out. So DJ, what's it like being the greatest champion of all time? Well, DJ, it is. It's a great accomplishment. It really is.
You know
I
what?
love this title. It's the greatest. That's how it goes.
I kind of want to interview myself. So, Casey, you think that Amy really appreciates the amazingness that you bring to everyone's life? You know what? I hope she does. I do. I hope she does. But shut up, DJ. But DJ is the worst co-host I've ever had in my life. I'm trying to fire him, but he won't leave. But that would kind of be how the interview would go down. But and then Amy will just ignore us because she is tired of our shenanigans. But
It's called Amy can multitask and knows what you're saying. I'm not going to ignore you because I'm tired of your
She actually
shenanigans.
can.
I will repeat every word
as
you
much-
said to prove
As much as she says she can multitask, she never really does. She just ignores us.
I don't ignore
We
it.
know these things, Amy. I can
don't-
tell ignoring when I see it.
You just don't know what listening looks like.
what is that?
I mean, you can't technically see listening. Technically,
You can't see with your ears. You can't do that. It's not possible. I mean, unless you got an eyeball in your ear,
Yeah.
in which case you need to go see a doctor. 'Cause
These poor people are listening to this rambling. Terrible. I'm sorry, people. I'm so sorry.
I mean, they got to see 2 extra interviews. Like,
They did, and they got to hear the beginning of a WWE show, that the music that plays. Before.
they thought they were gonna watch the WWE Network. Now they're gonna sue us.
By the way, it's only $9.99. Go get your subscription now so you can watch Survivor Series. I think it's next week.
I mean, unless you want to wait till a month when it's free, because they didn't do that for us. I'm just saying.
I do think we should. Speaking of Survivor Series, I do think we should talk about who should win, Goldberg or Brock Lesnar, just in a separate video. Obviously, don't ramble about it now, but
Well, I think that we definitely
What?
should do that. We should.
Gold Lesnar should win.
Gold Lesnar should, yes. I think, or Brockberg. I think Brockberg should win.
Gilberg.
Gilbert. He's gonna come out. He's gonna cause a disqualification. I can see it.
They're gonna have Gilbert, and they're gonna have just a small version of Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. It's not even gonna be them.
Hornswoggle.
Gilbert versus Brick Lesnar. Great. But anyway, that was our 6-pack of people we would like to interview. I think we should interview ourselves personally, just because there's things that we need to know that only we can answer. And we need to get to the bottom of those things. The bottom. Not the top, but the bottom. But until those interviews come, you should follow us at ICW_podcast. You can see it right there. And you should go and follow, even though it doesn't have the and symbol, because I screwed up and forgot to.
You done goofed.
And yeah, I done goofed. But it's at BD_Amy_Miley, MYLIE. And I just realized that I messed that up in the thing. But anyway, I'll fix it. I will fix it for the next podcast, for the next 6-pack. But do that. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video. Tell us who you would like to see us interview. Because, you know, we want to do what you want to see unless you don't want to see it. And then we're still probably going to do it. Because you're not our mama. You can't tell us what to do.
You're not on mama.
You're not. Yeah, you're not my mama. You're not Amy mama. You're not DJ mama. I mean, you might be somebody mama if you watching this and you got kids, but I mean, unless you're a guy and then you're not somebody's mama. Yeah, unless you do a weird role reversal with you. But anyway, we will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.